Okay, this is Dana Taylor with my week 4 interview, and I have here Keith Merrick. He is the Director of Marketing and Communications for the Pioneer Library System. And my first question, thank you for doing this, by the way. And my first question is, what does the field of communication look like in the library?
It really runs the gamut. In the general sense of the term, communication is between staff and customers, and staff and staff. It's a vital part of everything we do at the library. As it pertains to my job, it is my job, and that's why we have the marketing and communications manager. The marketing really being more a part of communications. Maybe that word should come first. We communicate with external customers via phone constantly, also text, email, all of those. We also have some avenues that might not immediately spring to mind, such as the PR that we create that goes in the branches to communicate the programs that we have going on and the things happening around the branches. Monthly branch calendars, which do the same thing, and then all the online communication that we do, which also serves that purpose. We communicate with external or internal customers rather, responding to questions from people around the system who need help with uh, even helping external customers, and then questions that pertain to these programs and the creation of the things that we do every month to inform people about what we're doing. And also, we communicate with external entities, be they partners at other systems, organizations, vendors. It's at the essence of what I do and my team does every day. Uh, really kind of we think should be maybe the first word in the title: communications and marketing.
Do you feel like the communication is going more? Do you have more social media communication with customers than you have other? Like on are the telephone calls still as high as maybe email questions, that kind of thing?
We haven't necessarily noticed the text or phone communications drop off much, but we have seen a marked increase in questions asked through social media or say on Google. If you Google a library and you have a question about if something is available or how do I do this, people will ask on Google, and inevitably somebody will jump in with answers before we get there. But and if they're good answers, then we just let that lie. But oftentimes they need clarification, so we jump in there and communicate the all of the information that needs to be there. I did one of those earlier this week.
So, what kind of genre, if you will, of communication do you like best? Um, Print, video, the social stuff. Where's your heart
Um,
lie?
I've done most of it. I've done print reporting and print features. I've done plenty of video, both sides of the camera, but radio is where my heart lies. I knew when I was a boy that I was going to be in radio. I played disc jockey with my turntable when I was a kid. I would talk while I was changing out the record, and not knowing that actually it was really far easier than that when you have two turntables and you just start the other one and talk over them. But yeah, I knew that I was going to do that. I didn't know that. I thought I would always be a DJ, but it's not the glamorous thing that most people think it is. It's a lot of hours for not a lot of pay, and even more so now than when I was doing it. And there's not many jobs left doing it, and you don't get holidays off, and you work overnights on holidays, and so I got out of it for a little while, and but then I got back in because they say once you do radio, it's always in you, and so yeah, I went back and did radio news for 20 years, climbing up and eventually working in market number five with CBS Radio in Dallas. And then my wife got a really good offer in Oklahoma. She's born and raised here, and so we came back up here. And I did radio here for another 8 years until I was presented with this opportunity at the library, which is cooler than radio.
It seems like kind of a jump though. So how did you end up in library communication?
I didn't even see the posting. My wife saw it, and I went down the line, and I'm like, yeah. And everything I saw in the posting, I said, I can do that. And the parts that I may not be experienced in, like being a spokesman for the library in front of media, well, I can do that because if you need somebody to speak to the media, who better to know to get than someone who knows what questions they're going to be asking? And I know that because I spent 20 years asking those questions. And it's helped a couple of times when we've had media show up that I got to use those skills that I had gained, and it helped because I know what they're going to ask, and I know the best way to, I know how media, members of the news media appreciate being treated, and so I can do that. And they like to feel first like you appreciate their interest in the story that the library is telling. And if you convey that, it makes a difference in the way the coverage is. And also, always be honest with them. Always be honest with them, because if something isn't right, they're going to dig, because that's what I did. And that's their job. So we lay everything out on the table.
So, in our narrative here at the library, communication is important. And how do you feel like it affects our relevance and our effectiveness, our communication?
It's so key. The whole idea of the things most people, well, I don't know if most people's accurate, but a lot of people, they think of the library as something that is becoming less relevant when nothing could be further from the truth. And as proof of that, I point to our very own system, which we're not shrinking, we're growing. We're about to open a brand new 3-story central library that is going to be an anchor in the community. Our staff gets bigger every year, and the things that we offer are broader every year. And to get that word out is key. If people don't know, then they don't know to use them. And the one thing that I always hear is, well, I didn't know the library did that. So part of my job is to make it where fewer and fewer people say, I didn't know the library did that. And instead have those people telling their friends, hey, did you know what the library does? And so it's at the essence of everything we do. There are so many people, we have 300 plus people across the system doing so much great work for our community. We're open to everybody, and we want as many people as we can possibly get in the door. And so it's my job to make sure that everybody knows all the great things that our staff are doing that is so key in all of the communities we serve.
So, to wrap up, what is the favorite project you've worked on, and why was it your favorite?
Yeah, I couldn't really probably pick one out at the library because everything that I do here is really important to me, to the point where sometimes I get a little emotional that when I hear the stories of the differences that our library staff are making in the lives of the people that visit us every day. And so I don't know that I could separate that out, but in the broader sense of what I've done, I know that in radio, I'm proud that me and a friend of mine that I went to school with started a radio program 21 years ago about the music of Arkansas, because it's not just Johnny Cash and Glenn Campbell. There's a lot of people there there were genres of music invented in Arkansas, and nobody was putting that word out there. And we decided, well, I guess we should do that. So we started with a small little radio program on a community station, and now we covered the entire state of Arkansas, all NPR affiliated stations, community stations, commercial stations. And now we're also on in most of Louisiana, all of East Texas, telling the story of Arkansas music 21 years later. And it's expanded out. What we wanted to do was raise awareness, and through communication, it worked. There's now Arkansas Music Festival in Little Rock. Our alma mater of Arkansas State holds the Johnny Cash Music Festival every year, and there's Arkansas Music Awards, which we won one the first year they handed them out, and we can't help but kind of think we had a hand in starting that. Pretty proud of that.
It's a great project. So thanks for talking to me today. I really appreciate it.
Yes.